Hello everyone and welcome to another review. Today we're going to go ahead and review a fragrance that was released in 2016. The fragrance we're going to talk about today is called Sexual Paris Tendre pour Homme by Michel Germain. Now, this is the bottle. Before I actually get into the review, the first thing that I'd like to say is that this fragrance was actually sent to me by somebody. I forget who it was sent to me by, but they wanted me to review it, and I got this sent, and I've had it on, and I've done my due research. So if you feel that I can't be impartial, feel free, click away, no hard feelings. But if you do, stay around, see what this actually, or stick around and see what this fragrance actually comprises of. Now, the bottle is really not anything to write home about. It's just this blue bottle. If you have any of the other Michel Germain fragrances, you probably recognize the bottle design. It's kind of indented if you go in a little bit here. The colorway is just different. The cap on this thing is, it's a little cheap. It's a plastic cap and it says sexual on it. Anyways, the sprayer, pretty decent. The one thing to recommend on this fragrance, or note on this fragrance, it's available in a 4.2, which is this size, and it's also a 2.5 ounce, which is just a smaller version of this, right? So with that, let's go ahead and get right into the actual review. Now, the notes of this fragrance are listed on screen. The biggest thing to take away is that when I first sprayed this fragrance, for some strange reason, it reminded me of Creed Aventus. Maybe I had Aventus on the mind, but then I scratched it and I'm like, no, that's completely wrong. It's not Aventus. But it does remind me of a fragrance that I have smelled before. Then it finally dawned on me after about 20 minutes, this smells like Christian Dior's Sauvage, the newer release. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. With Sauvage and with a lot of these clean scents, naturally, I feel that companies are starting to see that and they're like, whoa, it's, this is a very nice wearable fragrance, and it'd be better if we made kind of a clone. And so this, to me, comes across as a clone of Sauvage that's trying to do what Sauvage was doing. And to its credit, it actually does a pretty good job of it. This is a very pleasant smelling fragrance. I thought that it reminded me of blackcurrant, this note of blackcurrant that goes through, but it really is just this smooth, generic almost type of scent. Very pleasant generic. Don't think that when I say generic, I mean something negative, that by generic, I mean it just reminds you of a lot of pleasant smelling fragrances. It has a generic quality to it. So not a negative knock on it, just what the fragrance to me kind of symbolizes. Anyways, once you get past that blackcurrant, it kind of goes and dies down. Be careful. Initially, even though I use 4 sprays on this, because initially you may think that this is a fragrance that is going to blow everyone out of the water. It feels like it's a heavy fragrance offset, but it really isn't. Give it some time and it'll drastically calm down. After about 2 hours, it becomes a much calmer scent that is much closer to your skin. And after about 5 hours on my skin, it really became a really up close and smelling scent. So in terms of longevity and projection, this one is below average, and it gets it's a little bit worse than that. This is a good fragrance though to wear all season round. I think any occasion that you can possibly think of, you can actually put this one on. And performance-wise, like I mentioned, nothing really to write home about on this sucker. So as the fragrance begins to die down, it kind of, throughout from the beginning to the end, it changes very little. What changed during the actual, wearing of it for me was really more so what I was detecting, what I was feeling, kind of how I was feeling out the fragrance. But after I wore it about the 4th, 5th, and 6th time, I was like, okay, wait, this fragrance is not changing at all. It's really just dying down in strength. And that's essentially what I get from this fragrance. I get a very clean smelling scent, I get a very fruity smelling scent, and I get a scent that is very, very pleasing, if you will. Now, if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give this fragrance a rating of 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now, 3.5 out of 5 stars, let me break it down. Scent, great. Gets a full star. This is a very pleasant scent. I like the scent. There's nothing to complain about on the scent. Performance-wise, not so much. Performance, it's lacking in performance. Longevity, it doesn't really last a good amount of time. Sure, it's a little bit below average, but after it hits that point, it starts to become a skin scent. And to me, for a fragrance like this, it shouldn't necessarily be a skin scent, because one of its most powerful features is the fact that it gets compliments. This is a compliment getter that people will love on you, much like Dior's Sauvage. it's up there. I wouldn't say that it gets more compliments than Sauvage. I'd have to give it more time, but it is up there in compliments. So if you want a fragrance that is going to get you compliments, go ahead and put this one on. But with the performance issues, you're going to have to spray a decent amount. Like 4 sprays for me is generally on the higher side. 4, and sometimes I even wore 6 sprays on this, and I think that would even be acceptable. You just have to be careful of the beginning application. Now, value-wise, I think that it gets half of a star. It's not as, right now it's priced at around $84. And I think it's $84 for the 4.2. Anyways, with that, I'd say, you know, it's decently priced. I would like to see it cheaper for the 4.2, being under roughly around 50, but that's just my personal preference. So that's either way. And Uniqueness, unfortunately, so Uniqueness was a tough one. I gave it a half of a star for Uniqueness only because, yes, it does. I said it's generic, and that is very true. It is generic. The problem, it and Sauvage are doing a very similar thing. So I could easily be swayed on this one to say that this is not a unique fragrance at all and that it's 0 stars. So it's either a 3 or a 3.5 star in my book. This is the one that I still struggle with whether or not to give it that rating with Uniqueness. But either way, it's a to summarize it up, it's a very decent fragrance. If you're looking for a compliment getter that you can wear all year round, definitely check this one out. And I would actually be very wary and look around, see if you can get this discounted, see if you can get this cheaper, and if you can get it cheaper, I say it boosts the value of this sucker a lot more, and it's something that can easily double as your signature scent. All right? So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free, send me a message, let me know what your thoughts are on this particular fragrance. All right? Thank you guys, take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day.